Welcome to Honest Convos with Karen.
And Marcia. We're longtime biz besties bringing you along for the journey of building a business and life you actually want.
No fluff, no filters, just honest conversations about the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get into it.
Welcome back. This is the second episode in our sales series. We talked about kind of the mindset around sales last episode, so hopefully you've had a chance to check that one out. And in this one, we're going to talk about selling every day without feeling salesy. What does that actually look like? And how do we actually implement some new habits? A habit of aligned sales that feels good. Like sales can feel good. And we talked, at the end of the last episode, I kind of challenged folks to sit with the discomfort, dig in, really don't hide. Don't hide from how you felt around sales. And so now that we did all that, we got to actually put in practice some new habits that will help us sell every day and not connect stress to that action. We have to figure out how to decouple this daily habit of selling from like the stress and emotion around the act of sales. So that's what we're going to talk about more today. I mean, we know that sales is a part of business, but doing it consistently, that's the rub, right? That's the struggle. I think it's important to really quantify every day that you're not selling, you're losing revenue. And so we don't want our listeners, our community members to keep losing revenue. So we're like, let's talk about actually building that habit. Let's really talk about what it looks like to be selling every day because that might sound kind of big. It might sound a little overwhelming. Excuse me, when I say sell every day, you might be like, every day. That's like I know some people will be like email every day. I'm like, I'm not doing that. But sales every day, yes, I'm gonna do that. So I'm excited to talk about like what that really looks like to be selling every day and like how you can do it consistently and just really change the lives of yourself and the people you serve. So this is good. This is good. I'm glad we're talking about it.
Me too, because I think it plays into the 20th episode that we had too. That's all about like embodying being the CEO of your business. It's like sales is something, if you have a Venn diagram of who you are, like it's kind of there in the mid, like not who you are, but who you are as a solopreneur, your business owner part of your life. Sales is there. Like it needs to be a part of your identity. And like I mentioned with that comment where the woman was like, what do you actually do? I wasn't being clear enough. I wasn't selling enough. I was only selling periodically, like for the conferences, like when I had something that I could sell tickets to. And so while I was in the day to day of my business and I knew what it was I was doing, other people weren't picking up on it. So I think the selling every day is people stumbling upon you. Maybe you're at a speaking gig, maybe you're at a networking event. You are portraying to them that you have something that can either help them or help someone that they know. And so when you communicate the value that you bring, people are like, oh my God, I need that. Or they're like, you know who you should talk to is my cousin. I like that Karen shared that mirror moment about embodying like the negative feelings and everything, because I have found whenever I write stuff out, I can just ask myself like to diffuse the energy around this experience. There's something about like shining a light on something that happened to you or a situation you feel like you may have put yourself into, or anytime you feel like you've been in a experience that did not turn out in your favor. Like if you can just look at it and say, okay, that happened that one time. I'm going to use that as data to not get myself in that situation again, or to just notice it if it happens again. Again, I know this isn't the mindset episode, but I think there's so much that goes into selling that if you can get comfortable with it and if you can realize like the only way I'm gonna succeed and not burn out is to be able to bring in a living wage and even more than that, so that you can hire people to put together the systems and to help you with the parts that aren't your zone of genius. Money is a good thing, selling is a good thing, and you need to be doing it all the time because you're a business owner. Okay?
Mic drop. No. Episode over. No. So, no, it's a good point though. And how do you get comfortable, right? Like how do you get more comfortable with selling regularly, consistently, daily? I mean, really daily. Get over the fear of being annoying, right? Nobody's paying attention to you. I'm sorry. I know it hurts a little bit. It stings, but nobody cares. They could care less about you. They could care less about your offer. They could care less about the post you made. The caption had a little error in it. They didn't even read it. Like, and I know this is sounding a little harsh, but we just have to really think about the fact that they're all in their own world. Everyone is thinking about themselves. So if you show up and you have an offer that's going to help them with a problem that they have, like that's all they care about. They're like, oh, Marcia can help me finally do XYZ. I've been thinking about this. Oh, that's been a problem for me for over a year, whatever it is. And I see her offer, then I can take that action to learn more, to click the button, to go apply, to buy, whatever. That's all they care about. Can you solve the problem that they have? So if you stop overthinking it and just focus on the fact that they have a problem, you have a solution to that problem, why would you not present it, right? And just don't they're not thinking that deep about you. So don't think that deep about yourself. Does that make sense? Like you just have to just like get that like kind of just there's no fear. You don't need to have fear of rejection. They have the choice to click or not click. You don't need the fear of being annoying. They have the choice to click or not click. And remind yourself they have a problem that you can solve, and you don't have to worry about like what am I saying and all that. That's part of the systems, and we could talk about that in the next one. But fear of like I don't know what to say though, like how am I going to show up, how am I selling, like what do I even put in my post or what do I even put in my webinar, whatever, we can talk about that in the next one. But just like think about the fact that they are in their own world, they have a problem that you have a solution for, they're not overthinking it, so you shouldn't overthink it.
Such a good point and a good reminder too, because it's the visibility is hand in hand with the sales. And I had that conversation earlier this week at one of my lunches. And by the way, I had my last lunch yesterday. And it was with my mentor. And I told her, I was like, look, I'm not lunching anymore. I have to be like a serious CEO. And she's like, Marcia, you need to have fun. I'm like, look, I'm going to have fun, but it's going to be happy hours. And she's like, so now we have a happy hour booked for October 17th. Anyway, but like at one of my lunches, I had a conversation with the people who helped me with my branding, and she's very creative. And I told her, she was asking about the podcast, and I told her about editing and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of like a control freak, so that I enjoy editing because I am able to just take out the parts that I don't think need to be in there. And she's like, oh my God, I just had an aha moment, like that it's a control thing because she's very creative, you know? And I was like, control for creative people, it's the bumpers on the bowling alley where it's like if like we feel like the control is going to keep us like, anchored to the real world, because usually we're like in our head and we're like coming up with stuff and like we're living kind of in a different version of reality. I mean, we're not like crazy, crazy, but we're kind of crazy. She's like, yeah, I'm just not posting as regularly as I want to. And I think it's because the things don't feel as good as they could be. And I'm like, girl, nobody is paying it. I'm like, and even if you post something one time and they're like, that doesn't seem right, like that might even get them to come back and look at your stuff after that. Like it might be like a reverse engagement thing that you didn't even plan. But as Karen said, like we're in such a fast moving and fast paced environment that people aren't giving you as much thought as you think they are. But if you have leads, like warm leads or cold leads or whatever, but you have fine tuned your message enough where you're selling all the time, when they need it, they just push the buy now button. I'm like that. I am so cheap. Karen knows this. I can't believe she got into business with me because I'm like, because she's like so easily sold to, and I'm so not easily sold to. But when I want something, there's no hesitation. Like when somebody offers something like the magic marketing machine, I had been following this lady, Jenna, for I don't know, like 3, 6 months, something like that. And she's Canadian. And I just like, I really like her humor and just how she shows up. And she's very positive and she's in the DMs and everything. I really liked her stuff. And then she basically posted, and it was one day, and she's like, look, I'm increasing my pricing. This is what you'll get. And there was no nonsense about it, and I was like, "I'm getting in now before," and I just, like, re-upped. It was a year ago, and I just spent another $200 to have access to the library of content she had provided, and I had to jump through some loopholes too, because my bank wouldn't process it because it was Canadian whatever, and so I ended up having to go through PayPal, but I had to jump through some hoops to actually purchase, and she does sell, she has CTAs, but it just was something about the timing and everything, and I was like, "No," like, I had more clarity back then of what I wanted to be doing, even though it's taken a complete 180, but I still have access to all the content, which is really good. So I can use that for Honest Convos, for the Success Secret Society, that kind of thing. If she hadn't shown up that day, if she hadn't have been like, if I hadn't have gotten the value from her and everything and connected with her, I don't think I would have purchased that, and I'm glad that I did, and it was valuable enough for me to, re-up for another year. But anyway, so, like, I think it's the consistency of showing up and like, reminding people, like, "This is what I do." And part of selling too, we didn't mention this, but, like, testimonials, like, just sharing, like, "This is the impact that I've made for other people," and then having the people who are looking at your content, like, identify, like, "Oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for." That's a version of selling. Yeah, I think Karen wants to talk. She's like
Yeah, no, I'm
Oh,
just like nodding away. I love that. Like at some point, like we do this, like right now, it's like early in the morning, right? And we're like not fancy. So we are not doing video stuff. But I'm like, at some point, I think it would be fun to film the video of us talking because I'm so animated. Like Marsha, when I'm talking, is animated, but like you guys don't get to see it. So I feel like you're only getting like the half of the story. But yeah, because I'm always like nodding and talk, and I'm like on mute, but I'm like, yeah, it's so funny. So we're like each other's best hype people while we're recording. But no, I'm just like in agreement. Like, yeah, and it's like her consistency of showing up, is what drew you in. And then you were kind of thinking about it. And it's like her message of like, I'm raising my price, your problem of like, I really need to have more systems and support around marketing. It married up. And that's really the most important point about having like a daily habit of making a CTA or sending DMs. You said she's in the DMs, so that's great. And like following up with people. And that's a good point. Like following up with folks that you have sold something to and worked with in some way and getting them to just give you a little like how was it, like a little blurb, how was it going. I was thinking of that even for our society that's been open a couple months already. Like at some point soon we're going to ask our current members like how you liking it. Are you willing to do a little testimonial so we can put that on our brand new gorgeous sales page. It is like you're not convincing people to do anything. I've said this before, but like you are just helping them make a decision that's already in alignment with what they want to do. And so when they're ready, when it is aligned, then that's all you need. Like you just have to be there when they're ready. You just have to have the offers, the sales process in place so that when they're ready, there is a button to click. There is a process to go through, an application to fill out or a buy now to buy. That's the biggest thing is like sometimes I'll click something, like I'll find someone that I kind of like and I'll like click around on their thing and I cannot for the life of me figure out how to buy whatever the hell they were just talking about that got my attention. I'm like, okay, well, if I want to apply to work with her, how do I do that? If I want to buy something, how do like what's going on? They'll have a link, they'll have like 40 other links that are doing random things. I'm like, but I just want to buy something. Where do I buy it? And if I got to work that hard, I'm just going to move on, right? So it's like making it easy, having a clear sales process that people can just engage with when they are ready, when it is aligned, and you're just inviting them to continue learning about how you can help them. I think that's a good way to kind of think about it.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up too, because I've had that situation where I've gone to websites and you're just like, why do they not want to get me as a customer? Where it's like Amazon's not hiding the add to cart button. It's always right up there at the top. And Karen mentioned our new Success Secret Society webpage, and she did that, and it is, oh my god, she sent it to me last night. So doors are open. So if you would like to look at me selling today, oh my god, I love it. But anyway, she sent me the sales page at like 11 o'clock at night, and I was just like, "Is this real life? Like, this is so beautiful. It conveys everything that we're doing. It's so clear. There's so many buttons that are like, I want in, and like the call to actions are great. But in the past, when I've gone to places, like when people don't know how to buy from you, it shows that you are keen on self sabotage. Like you're making it difficult, and that's either because you don't feel confident in what it is you're selling, or I don't know, but the user experience, like people right now, the attention span is so low that if you have somebody going to your page and they're getting confused, like you can completely lose their interest. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up about visibility too and selling all the time is if people get annoyed with you and seeing that you're selling too much, guess what? They're not a good client for you. So goodbye. Mute me or unfollow me, but you can't let people who are not your ideal client impact your ability to get in front of your ideal clients. So it's hard to feel rejected. It's hard to feel like people aren't paying attention to you or whatever. But as Karen and I have said, is like, if something's not working, change it. Make tiny tweaks. Look at the data. Pay attention. Karen and I are looking at the listen ratio. We're seeing when people drop off. Does it sting a little bit? Yeah. But guess what? Who cares? We want to be providing content that's going to help people and keep the aligned people engaged until they're ready to buy, until that time comes up to buy. So, yeah, don't make it difficult for people. In your newsletters, always have something, have a button on your social media post, always have a CTA. And I don't do that. Like, if you go back and scroll through some of my old stuff, like, I didn't do that. But now it's like I do think about it intentionally and don't overthink it, but just, do this, do that, do this.
Give it just the right amount of thinking. No, but it is important. And so one of the things that my favorite coaches probably well, I have a lot of favorite coaches because I've worked with so many different ones, but Julie and Kathy of Funnel Gorgeous, they have this in one of their programs. They called it a sticky profiles audit. And basically, you had to go through, and the whole idea is like, if someone lands on your profile, will they stick? Do you have enough going on, like, aligned messaging, posts, CTAs, things that will interest them, that they will stick and stay on your profile. So that's kind of the concept of the sticky. But it was just so interesting to do that exercise. This was a couple years, or maybe three, I don't know. Time is weird, but it was a few years ago. And so I was like realizing, like, oh, I guess it isn't. Like my profiles weren't very sticky and they were kind of confusing. And also they weren't consistent, right? Like my web presence across was a little inconsistent. I might be had a different CTA over here than I had over there. And it's like, but what do you do? And because people will Google you, right? We talked about the rabbit hole and all that before. Like people will be like, who is this person really? This is not a AI episode. We'll talk about AI later, but I'm getting into the concepts of AI search and AI SEO, and this is critical for AI SEO. So we'll talk about that later in another episode. Plant that in the back of your mind in the parking lot because this, like having a consistent web presence where AI can know that you're a trustworthy person in whatever niche that you're in is gonna be like essential if you want to survive as an online business in the future. But again, not to be like doomsday prepping, but we'll talk about that later. But for now, while it's still humans searching for us, I think, hopefully, it's the same concept. Like your website, if your website is like conveying clearly who you are, what you do, and there's actual ways for people to learn more, to apply, to buy an intro product, sign up for a webinar, buy a workshop, whatever it is, and then your all your social presence wherever you have a social presence is consistent, and I'm talking about boringly consistent, same profile pic, same little blurb about what you do, like it should not, same bio, like you should not go here, and like, and you can tweak it a little, like obviously on LinkedIn you're going to be a little bit more of the professional version of you versus, Facebook, you're a little more casual, that's fine. But like you, that plays so much into like how people even will view you as the expert. Like when you're a solopreneur, creator, coach, consultant, expert, like you are the person that they're buying. I mean, they're not buying you as a person, but like they're buying into you. That's what I mean, right? Like your vibe, your philosophy, thought leadership comes to mind of like, I like the way she thinks. I like, she has good quotes, good nuggets. Like I like what, she's talking about it in the way that resonates with me. They might not say that or to themselves, but that's kind of the that's what's underlying when they're vibing with you, right? And so part of that is like how you're showing up consistently across. So that, I mean, honestly, if you just did that one thing, if you just do a sticky profiles audit and just like look across all your social presence, your website, everything, your funnels, whatever you have on the internet, and make sure that it is consistently representing, the messaging and the offers are clear. There's ways for people to take next steps. Like if you just did that, that could totally transform your daily sales abilities.
I'm blown away, Karen, because I got a lot going on and I am not sticky. That is such a good use of time. Yeah, I think anybody that's listening right now who's thinking like, and we don't want this to be like a tactic that is like a stall tactic preventing you from selling, but like this is something that you could do a time block on your calendar for like 2 to 3 hours and do exactly what Karen said, like add every single link where you're showing up, every link that you own, I guess, like social media and everything and your websites, and just look at it through that lens, or maybe even just hire someone, like I know people who do website audits and everything. I don't know if there's someone specifically that I have in mind who would do that. Yeah, take a look at it through that lens and just be like, if I were a stranger who saw my profile or whatever and was interested, like what is the messaging that I'm conveying? And I think that was a great way to wrap up this episode, is to just say like part of selling every single day is just making sure that your digital footprint is all cohesive and people know what it is you do and how are you going to transform their life by improving it, or taking them out of pain. That's the big thing. Yep.
Hey, friend, loving this combo?
Then don't keep it to yourself.
Hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling extra generous,
leave us a quick review. It helps more women find the show, and it honestly means the world to us.
And we really want to connect beyond the podcast. So come say hi on social.